It's payday. Come along with me as I budget a nurse making $139,000 a year that's losing more than $2,000 a month. This is a 49-year-old nurse that is losing more than $2,000 a month, and her income is $139,000 a year.
Creating and sticking to a budget in 2025 in America is one of the most important things you can do for your finances, obviously. In today's video, we're going to look at a group of people from across the country with how much money they make, the taxes that come out, and all of their finances, bills, and expenses that they have to budget for each and every month. Let's jump into these videos, and hopefully this will either give you the inspiration to create a budget for yourself if you don't already have one, or to stick to one if you do have one, and to show you how other people separate their money and make it work in 2025 during this insanely high cost of living period. Now we're going to talk about people from all walks of life and all levels of income, all the way down to like 30,000 up into the multiple six figures. So bear with me if you don't see your income level, but eventually I think you will find somebody who is similar to you in earnings, especially pre-tax and post-tax. Let's check her out.
I just got paid today, so I wanted to do a kind of like transparency video on how much I make per month, where that money kind of goes. I like watching people put their money and how much people make, so it's interesting to me. For reference, I work in IT at an insurance company. I am a scrum master. It's a funny name. Basically, it's just like a project manager. I think I make $99,500 a year. I think that's my salary. That's without taxes. That's like my gross income. I take home each month $5,533. That is with my retirement taken out already, and my health insurance taken out already, taxes and everything.
So we can stop it there and see that she makes $5,533 a month, 12 months, $66,000, meaning she loses about $28,000, $29,000 a year in taxes. So that's around like $2,400 a month gets taken out of her paychecks for taxes. So her gross pay is actually closer to $8,000, which is pretty nuts.
Split into two paychecks, so I get about $2,766.57 per paycheck. And that's split up on the 15th of the month, and then at the end of the month, the 31st, or like the last day of the month. It's all gonna be split by month, like monthly expenses. My rent, I live in Connecticut in a luxury-esque apartment. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's like 1,100 or 1,200 square feet. I split it with my boyfriend, so we each pay $1,300 per month. For utilities, I do the gas and electric, he does the Wi-Fi. For utilities, I pay around, depending on the month, $50 for gas, and then $130 to $150 for electric. Over the summer, the electric can get up to $200 per month. I think the Wi-Fi is about the same. For groceries, I would say, I don't know for sure, it fluctuates. Sometimes he pays, sometimes I pay. I would say we pay about $500 to $600 per month in groceries between the two of us. Car payment, I lease a car. It's a Chevy Malibu. It's a 2022. And I pay $548 per month for my car. So my car payment includes oil changes too. So I get my oil changes included. I don't have to pay for those out of pocket. I have over $100,000 in student loans. So I pay right now $714 per month toward my student loans. That's the minimum I could pay, which is...
Yikes, she's paying almost $9,000 a year in student loan payments, and she owes $100 grand. It'd take her 11 years if there's no interest. Of course, there's interest, so it's going to take her a lifetime to pay that off. To become an accountant to make $100,000 a year. So she spent $100,000 to make $100,000 a year, but you can see how quickly that debt is just piled up in interest and doesn't get paid off very quickly. She is paying $714. Remember, her take-home pay is $55. She's paying like 12 to 14% of her income just to her student loan payment. And besides her rent, that is her highest payment. Also, don't forget, she's paying $1,500 for rent and utilities, but it's actually $3,000 all in. So if she was living by herself, it would be an extra $1,500. And she has a boyfriend, thank God. She makes $5,500 a month. That would only leave her $2,500 if she didn't have the boyfriend to cover it. And then we see her student loan payment and her car payment and her groceries. If she didn't have her boyfriend, she'd have $638 left over, and we're not done with her expenses yet. Thankfully, she has her boyfriend, so she gets that extra $1,500, which leaves her $2,138. You can see how it is almost impossible without two incomes or one high earner, and she is a high earner. $100,000 is high earner. It still requires two people to make it work.
This crazy. Yeah, so that's split like $350 or whatever that is per paycheck. I think $185 per month for my car insurance, which I want to look into. I feel like I can get that lower. And then for gas, I don't really drive a lot because unless I'm driving somewhere like to go to like Long Island or something to visit family, I don't drive a lot because I work from home right now and I work at a gym, but it's like 10 minutes away. So I probably spend about $100 to $150 on gas per month. That equals $3,527. That's just my fixed expenses per month. So that's more than one paycheck for me. Those are my fixed expenses. So I'll make another video going over my subscriptions.
So that leaves her $2,000, just like I said. And if she didn't have the boyfriend and she was living on her own or didn't have a roommate, if she had one of those, that would be another $1,500 that she just said she would have to spend because he takes care of half the rent and half the utilities. So she would be left with about $500 or less a month if she did not have her boyfriend. Thank God for her boyfriend, she has that $2,000 instead of $500. And she hasn't even gone over her subscriptions, which I looked in another video, and it's a couple $100. So she has like $20 for Netflix and Disney Plus. She has her gym membership that's like $20 a month. She has a couple $100 worth of these subscriptions. She also does some kind of box thing. So even at $100, which is fair, $100 for subscriptions, she's left with $400 if she didn't have the boyfriend. But thankfully, because of him, she's instead left with plenty of money to put into savings, or at least put a couple $100 a month in savings or retirement or IRA or whatever she chooses to do with it. So 2 incomes can make it work. This next young lady we're going to see makes about half of what we just saw. So let's see how somebody making half of that amount of money chooses to budget and live and how they make it work.
I get paid once a month, so let's budget that monthly paycheck together. Before anything else, I transfer $1,250 into a separate Chase savings account, and this accounts for my rent and utilities. My next payment.
So she brings home $1,501 per paycheck, $3,000 a month, and one of those paychecks has to pay her rent and her utilities and her other stuff. Gone. Just the entire paycheck minus a couple bucks, gone. And some people are going to probably say, how does she have such a cheap rent? I don't know. It's a great question.
Goes to car insurance, which is $160 a month for full coverage. Now, my next payment goes to my car, which I am actually about to pay off a year and a half early come April. My payment is $270 a month with a 4.7% interest rate. However, I've been paying at least an extra $100 a month, which is allowing me to pay it off early in just 1 month. Now let's talk student loans. I've actually paid off about $25,000 so far, still have 20 grand left to go. Under the SAFE plan, my payment is $95 a month. I get an automatic withdrawal of $200, and so this is me paying an extra $50 towards that. What you don't see is I do contribute 5% to my 401k. I transfer $50 a month to a Roth IRA and $200 a month to a high yield savings account. Hope you.
And there you go. She's only left with $600, but she also has $200-ish for groceries, which is crazy in a month. $50 a week is all she's eating. $50 for gym and subscriptions, fair. And $80 for parking at work. So she spends $20 a week to park at work. So actually, that's only leaving her $270. She is 1/4 of a paycheck, 15, 750, less than a quarter of a paycheck from not having enough money to get through the month. And she has a much cheaper student loan debt than the other young lady, about $500 difference. So that makes up a huge lot of it. And of course, her rent is like $500 less. So that's the $1,000 difference in their paychecks there easily, if not more. And her stuff, $200 for groceries. How do you eat as one person on $200 for groceries? That's $50 a week. That's what, like $10 a day is $300. So $6 a day is $100. It's like $6.66 a day for 3 meals. I just don't know. That's $2 a meal. I don't know how she could get away with $200 for groceries. She should probably be spending about $400. $100 a week would do it for one person. But man, that only leaves her $270. And if she spent that other $200 on groceries, she'd be almost negative. So you can see people are living paycheck to paycheck by the string of their teeth. It's pretty startling to see that happening. Next, we're going to see a gentleman that makes slightly more than the first young lady, but he has $87,000 in debt, which is a lot of debt. That's a lot. Like anything over 10, 15, 20 grand, if we're counting, outside of your mortgage. If you have car loans, I get it. If you owe 20, 30 grand on a car, that's one thing. But if we're talking about debt in the form of loans, credit cards, student loans, 87 grand is a lot. The other girl has 100,000 in student loan debt, and that's optional. A lot of people don't have those student loan debts. They just have it in other debt. check this out, because this one is a little scary to think somebody can make 110 grand and have all of this debt. Look at it.
She's a 29-year-old finance manager's $110,000 salary in Colorado with $87,000 of debt. We are budgeting her net paycheck, so that is after taxes, 401k, insurance, etc., and she is paid bi-weekly amounts of $2,800. Her non-debt monthly expenses total $3,740.
I want to stop that right there. Go back just a little bit.
The expenses
Go back.
total.
So she gets paid $5,600 a month. That's, he said, after her taxes and her contributions or whatever. So I don't know how much she contributes, but on 110 grand, she's losing almost half. Almost half. She's only getting $67,000 on a $110,000 paycheck. That's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts.
$3,744, and that is made up between rent, utilities, phone bill, car insurance, gas, subscriptions, groceries, dining out, and personal spending.
All right, let's talk about it. Rent and mortgage, $1,865, pretty fair rent. If she lives alone, it's a young lady. I thought it was a young man, my apologies. If she lives, in a normal place, $1,865, normal rent or mortgage, nothing wrong with that. Utilities at $300, yep. I mean, here in Florida, our electric bills get high. We have ACs running all summer long, we know that. $60 for a phone bill, more than fair. $189 for car insurance, definitely fair. Where I live in Florida, we're the highest insurance rates. My cars average about like almost $200 a car, and that's here in Florida, and a really good deal. It used to be almost $300. Gas and transportation, $150, that's fair, $37.50 a week. Subscriptions and memberships, $180, sounds a little high. I mean, I don't have a ton of subscriptions. I have like Netflix, Peacock, and XM. We have like Disney, Hulu, and Amazon Prime, and when you add all my stuff up, it's like, I don't know, $60, I think is mine, maybe 70. We used to have gym memberships. They were $10 a piece. There's a $10 place down the thing. So 180 sounds like a lot. If you include like my home alarm system, that's $60 a month. So maybe that could be added in there. Groceries, $550. That's more realistic for one person. You're talking about $550. It's still, $275, only $140 a week. That's not bad, right? $20 a day. So that's fair, right? Dining out, $300. There you go. She's spending $75 a week dining out, and personal spending of $150. So we'll give her that. Maybe she goes to the bar and grabs a drink, happy hour. Maybe she goes out and buys some shoes for $50, $75. Who knows, right? Fair, $150. So nothing extraordinary. Her expenses, her absolute expenses totaling $37.44. Nothing extravagant.
Then moving over to her sinking funds, she currently doesn't have any money in savings or an emergency fund. She wants to start saving for one, but we are going to see how much money she has left over after all of her debt payments first. Looking at her debt, she has a car loan, a student loan, a debt consolidation loan, and one credit card. All of those debts combined total $87,000, and she is spending $1,274 each month just to pay the minimum payments on those debts. She's not currently investing in anything, and we probably don't want to start that now until we can take care of some of the high interest debt that she has. After all of these expenses, she is left with $582 a month to allocate, and she can decide either to start saving up an emergency fund just to get a little bit of a cushion, or put it straight towards her debt. If she wants to first build the $2,000 of emergency fund, that will take her 3 to 4 months with that $582 a month going towards it. And then afterwards, she can take that and put it towards the credit card and get that credit card paid off in about 6 months. She would then be left with about $700 a month that she could use to either build up her emergency fund even more, or start working towards paying off that debt consolidation loan.
So the debt doesn't look too bad. She's got a car loan, which most of us have, $22,000, not a lot on it. It's a $548 payment though. She only has $582 left after paying all these debts. Her minimum payment on the student loan is $286, 50 grand. That's over half of her debt, right? So again, these student loans are just crushing people. Her debt consolidation loan, that means she had debt before, maybe credit cards, $350, and a credit card one of $90. So she owes $12.5 on the debt consolidation, and she owes $32.68 on the credit card. She's making a $90 payment, right? So the $90, you're only gonna get, the interest rate's 22%, so she's gonna get like 50, 60 bucks worth of that actually going to the principal. Like $30, $40 is gonna go to interest on the credit card. But if she throws a $500 of her $582 towards the payment, she throws $590 as a payment on the $32.68. Well, the $32.68 might go down to $32, but she chucks the $500 at it. Now she's at $27. She does it again the next month, she's at $22. And then she does it month 3, she's at $17, and then $12, and then $7, and then $200. So she could pay that off in 6 months. Credit card goes away. And then she now has $600 a month to throw at the debt consolidation loan. Now, here's the problem with the debt consolidation loan. $600 at 12.5, and this is where people get overwhelmed and they get really depressed. 12.5 divided by 600 is 20 months, 20.8 months, but she's already making a $350 payment. So her payments are now going to be $950 if she takes that extra money and throws at it. So if we're doing, $950, the interest rate's pretty low on it. So 12,586 divided by 950, that's actually only 13 months. So a year later, after paying off her credit card, if she spends the next 6 months paying the credit card and the next 12 months paying off the debt consolidation loan, in 18 months, she'll have paid off $16,000 worth of her debt in 18 months. Not to mention that car loan in 18 months is going to be much, much lower, right? So you look at 548 times 18 months, she'll have made another 10 grand in payments. Her car loan will probably be down around, like 12, 14 grand. In 2 years, except for her student loan, she could be debt free. She'll only have her student loan and she'll have free that car loan, 8, 9, 1,000. She'll have almost $1,600 a month worth of free money in 2 years, 18 months to 2 years. She could start throwing it, when you got that kind of money, you could pay off the student loan. She technically could pay all of this off in 4 years, 5 years max, but she could pay off the 3 in 18 to 24 months. So that's pretty nice. She could even do some side hustles to throw at it if she really wanted. So it's not disastrous. There's light at the end of the tunnel for this young lady. And in 18 to 24 months, she could wipe out $40,000 to $50,000 of that debt, plus whatever she's paying on that student loan. So she's in a good position. Make a little extra money, throw your money at it, get rid of those payments, give yourself a buffer. Then she's got $2 grand a month and she can start putting it away and saving and retiring. All right, we're gonna do one in the middle. It's a $75,000 budget. So not the $40,000 and not the $100, $110, it's $75, it's somewhere in the middle. Let's check her out.
Let's budget my $75,000 salary. That means I make approximately $6,250 a month pre-tax and about $3,100 every 2 weeks on my paycheck. After taxes, I'm netting about $4,600. I then put $1,800 away for rent. Oh, right, 100 of that actually goes into my healthcare, and another 500 of that goes into my 401k. And then I have a little freak out because I know what's coming next. A good chunk of money goes into car insurance, car payment, internet, electricity, water, phone, and then miscellaneous items like gas. And I completely forgot these are monthly expenses, so add on another $800 for my 401k and another $90 for my health insurance. At this point, I have about $820 left. I haven't even factored in groceries or eating out, so put another $300 in there. I have about $500 left, and this is the absolute bare minimum. As you can tell, these were absolute necessities. Most of that doesn't even go into my bank account. It goes into straight out of my paycheck. Let's get this over with. Groceries, credit card shopping, expensive gifts. Let's just put me at negative $150 for the month. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully next month's better. See you next time.
So I don't know where she came up with the extra $800 I think I saw for like 401k or something. That, if she's being negative, she should just put a little less in her 401k. She doesn't have to do that. She can adjust that and her shopping down a little bit. And instead of being negative 150, she could be positive 150 or 300 or 400 bucks, right? $75,000, if she's putting $800 to $1,000 a month towards 401k retirement, that's aggressive. That's $12,000 a year. That's a lot, right? For somebody that age and somebody who makes 75 grand, which is not a ton of money. Remember, 75,000, she just said she's only bringing home 52, I think is the number, give or take, with her post-tax. So 52,000, if you're trying to put 12,000 of that into your, a quarter of that, 25% into your 401k, it's aggressive. Most people can't do that. So that's why she's coming up a little short every month, and she should adjust that just slightly, just to give herself a little less retirement, get through all the bills until she pays off, the car loan, pays off student loan or whatever else she has, and then she can start being more aggressive with the investing, and then also get a side gig, sell on Poshmark, sell on eBay, do something to make just a little extra money. 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks a month could be all the difference. Okay, now we're gonna see a high earner. This is a 49-year-old, so a little bit on the older side, but not quite. $139,000 paycheck, but she is also in Southern California. So this one's gonna be drastic. Hold on to your pants for this one. Sit down, because these numbers are big. They're going to be big to a lot of you. Check it out.
It's payday. Come along with me as I budget a nurse making $139,000 a year that's losing more than $2,000 a month. This is a 49-year-old nurse that is losing more than $2,000 a month, and her income is $139,000 a year. I've taken all of her numbers and put it into a budget that I've made. If you want to check it out, you can use the link in my bio. After taxes and deductions, she's bringing home $3,757 every paycheck, and she's paid twice a month. She has a very expensive mortgage at $5,105 a month, and her HOA is $260 a month. She also financed some solar panels, so she spends $103 on that. She spends $550 a month on groceries and $120 in dining out. She loves her shopping, so she includes that into her budget. Her car is paid off, so she's only paying gas and car insurance. She has two types of student loans, private student loans and federal student loans. And this is when it gets a bit dicey. She's spending $1,356 in minimum payments on 8 credit cards. All of her 8 credit cards are listed here, and she has a total of $30,000 in credit card balances. As we get over to the right side, this number is most important because it's how much money she has left after all of her expenses have been paid. From there, she can choose a monthly allowance, and this is fun money, so she can do whatever she wants with this. You'll notice she still has a monthly allowance, but she's losing money every month because of those expenses. The way I have her budget broken down, every time she gets paid, money automatically flows into 3 accounts.
I got to stop it here and go back to her actual payments here. So this is her spending. The mortgage with the utilities, the HOA, the solar is $4,520, like $5,800. And she only brings home 3,750 times 2, $7,500, right? So she's only left with $2,500 after that. And then she's got groceries and all this stuff. So she's spending, look at this. She's spending $94.82 a month, and she's only bringing home $7,500. $94.82 minus $7,500 is that minus $2,000 a month that he's talking about, right? Here's her biggest problem. She can't get rid of all that other stuff. The dining out, maybe the subscription she can cut. Her $300 shopping, you're negative. You got to get rid of the $300 shopping. You got to get those subscriptions cut in half to where you're only spending, $50. So you cut 45 out of that. And then she's got car insurance, term life. She's got to pay the loan. So she's got $700 worth of student loan debt. She can't not pay that, right? Her dining out, $120. She needs to cut that down to like nothing, to like $50. So then we save another $70. So I've saved her $415 with some simple cuts. Dining out, subscriptions, and the shopping has to stop, right? The credit card payments, $13.56 a month. That's the most. Even if she got rid of all of those, she's still negative, right? She's still negative if she gets rid of all of the credit card payments and cuts the cuts that I just told you to do. Her groceries at $550, I feel like maybe she could cut that down to $450 as one person and be at $1871, but she's still negative. All these bills are swallowing her up. Now the credit card payments, I want to talk about these a little bit because let's go over here, right? So this is her credit. She has 8 credit cards, right? So her Fidelity payment is $448, right? And then she has some $6,000 Sam's Club that should be groceries, like as part of her budget. Why is she paying $214 a month to a credit card bill? Ashley Home, that's a furniture. I have Ashley. I don't owe them any money, but I've used them many, many times when they do interest-free. She's got a $200 payment on that. She's got a $200 payment on Wayfair, which I don't know how a $1,000 credit card balance equals out to a $200 payment. If you only owe a credit card $1,000, the minimum payment's probably like $50, right? So she could get away with that. Her credit one, $1,623. See how it's a $30 payment? The Best Buy at $3,000 is $90. That's probably right. Home Depot's $27.84, so $82, probably right. And the First National, $1,500. Yeah. Okay. So when you add all this up, she's spending this $1,300, 2, 4, 6, 10. Yeah, $1,300. I think she could cut Wayfair down and only pay him $100 a month, so she could get that down to 12 something. She's gonna have to do a lot of scrimping and scraping to cut these payments in order to put that $110 worth of Wayfair. She should only be making a $100 payment to that, and she should start pumping that. Or maybe that's what she's doing. The $210. She'll pay off the Wayfair and then put the Wayfair payment towards the credit one and start doing that snowball or the First National. Get rid of these $1,000, $1,500, and you can cut these credit card payments by $400 or $500 in the next couple of months, 6 months to a year. So her goal, cut all that shopping money, cut all that stuff, get rid of all that stuff, and put all that money towards paying off the Wayfair. Take the $210 from Wayfair, plus the other few hundred I've told you, pay off the First National a few months. In a year, she could pay off of her, it's only $30,000. She could be making somewhere around an extra $500 to $700 in payments towards these and get rid of, in a year, get rid of, I don't know, $10,000 worth of this payments and cut her debt to 20. and only be making $600 worth of payments, just pumping this money in and paying this debt off. That's what she's got to do. She's got to shop less. She's got to go out to eat less. She's got to do subscriptions less, just for a year, maybe 2 at most, and pay off $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 worth of this debt. Get rid of this $30,000 and snowball it. And then she can start working on those student loans, which are a lot of money as well.
Broken down, every time she gets paid, money automatically flows into 3 accounts, all within the same bank. So she'll have a spending account, a bill pay account, where all of her expenses get automatically pulled from, and a high yield savings account. This last number we have over here is her emergency fund, and this number is automatically calculated based off of 3 months of spending and bill pay. It's really important to include your spending into your emergency fund. So after all is said and done, she's left with a negative balance of $2,167 every single month. So roughly negative 30% of her income. So there's a lot of work to be done here. I know what I'm going to tell her to do, but let me know what you think in the comments. Like, follow, comment, and if you want to be featured on this TikTok series, just check out.
I can only come up with a few $100 of spending she can get rid of. The 300 shopping and maybe another 200 worth of subscriptions and dining out and grocery cutting. So maybe I can get her 500 a month, which cuts her down to 16. I think she could cut some of the minimum payments. Let's just assume those are the minimum payments. Then there's nothing you could do about it. She's still minus $1,500. I think she has $30,000 in savings, so she can do that for a year, which is 18 grand. It'll only leave her 12,000 in her savings. So then she will have paid off, though, if she does that extra 500 that I found for, that's 6 grand. She pays off quite a few of those credit cards and starts moving those payments on the other ones. I think she can survive. She needs to get an extra little side gig or something to make an extra $500 or $1,000 a month like everyone else, pick up some overtime, whatever she's got to do, and just cut as much spending as she can for 1 to 2 years. That way she can save. You know, if she makes an extra 500, she puts that 500 worth of cuts in, she's already made $12,000 difference, a swing over a year, right? And over 2 years is 24 grand, and that is most of her debt. So I think he's going to tell her to file for bankruptcy, but I don't think she's in that situation yet. I think she can do it. It's just going to take a lot of tightening of her pants and really making it work. I was reading the comments where people are saying the mortgage is too much. Refinancing the mortgage, perhaps she can get that down to $4,500. I don't know, $4,000. Consolidation loan for her credit cards, no monthly shopping. Sell the house if the equity and pay off the rest of the debt. If she has equity, she could do that. Mortgage, utilities, HOA make up roughly 75% of her take-home pay. Time to downsize. Yeah. What kind of house is she living in for $5,000? Even in Southern California, is she living in a house that's too big for her? Can she sell it, use the equity to put down on something else to get a mortgage that's $4,000? Even a $4,000 mortgage is a lot, but that saves her $1,000, and the equity would pay off the credit cards, which is only 30 grand. So let's say she's got 150,000 in equity, right? Sells it, takes the 150,000, pays off 30,000 in debt. That's now 120,000 she's got left. She goes and puts 100 grand down on a house, keeps 20,000 in cash, and refills the emergency savings fund, and the 100,000 takes the mortgage on a new house down to 4 grand. So she's immediately saving 1,000 on the mortgage and 1,300 on the credit card. She just flipped her script by $2,300, and she's in a much better position. We'll have to wait and see what she does. I'll try to do an update. Yeah, so that's kind of the situation in America. Everything from somebody making 40 grand up to making 140 grand, and everything in between, 100, 139, 110. What's your budget if you feel like sharing it, and how plus or minus are you? What's the breakdown? Let us know in the comments section. And on these people, what do you think that lady should do, the last lady, the nurse? What's her solution? Selling the house, maybe. Cutting discretionary spending, cutting all the other stuff is only going to help her a little bit. She's going to have to tighten up a lot. But if she sells the house, she could solve all the problems right away. And some of the other folks, what do you think about their budgets and how they spend money and how they do it and their paychecks and the amount of taxes we get taken out? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, they belong to each and every one of you. I appreciate you being here. If you could take just 1 second and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm, helps everybody else be able to see these videos and get it out to the world, so maybe they can fix their finances and their budget, and this will help them along in life journey and their financial situations. As always, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you check out the description box. There's a lot of great links down there, and I will see everyone next time.